Alright, for our next logo, let's do something on the easier side. Somewhat easier side. We got the Venmo logo here. It's just blue background, one letter in there. Sometimes a simple letter can be just enough for a cool logo. So I'm going to start by drawing out a rectangle. And I will make this 904 by 904. It's pretty big. We'll apply a radius, like way up there. Maybe something like 100. That's good. We'll apply that simple blue color here. We'll get our eyedropper, figure out what that is. Next, I'm going to hit T for text, and I've been playing around with this, and I found one that is pretty close, or at least that'll get us there. So we'll start with this V, and I've got it set to a font size of 700. It's pretty huge. The font is called the bold font, and that's something you can get from dafont.com. Just download that. So I'm going to get it centered here for the most part, and there we go. I'm going to hit Command D to duplicate that, just in case I need to go back. I'm going to hide my duplicated copy. I'll go back to the original. And now with the original, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to choose Convert to Outlines. This will change it from text to an actual shape. And if you look here in my layers panel, you'll see that the copy is still text, and the V that I just converted to outlines is now represented by an actual shape. So with that selected, I'm going to double click to put myself in edit mode. And then I'll start increasing the size of this a bit. So I'm going to drag that over. I'll drag this over and down a bit. And I want to try to get a consistent angle and a consistent size here on both sides. I don't want it dragging in too much. I don't want it too far out. I want it to be somewhat consistent, at least to the eye. So just eyeballing it. And that'll be good enough. I think maybe up just a little bit. Something like that. This I think is going to come down a little bit more. So with that being down a little bit more, I'm going to drag this out just a tiny bit more. Alright, from there, let's drag this guy down a bit. So click and drag, click and drag. And it's not the same angle as this. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit steeper. And then I'm going to click right here, and I'm going to place another point. When you highlight or hover over this spot, you'll notice that there's a little plus sign next to your vector drawing tool pen. So I'm going to click and just drag that inwards a bit. Something like that. I don't want this curve to be too crazy. And then I'm going to drag another one out here. Pretty far out, something like that. And if you want, come over here and say disconnect. We can make this a little more subtle. So dragging this handle in a bit, maybe bring it down. Just play around with it till you get it to where you want it. And I think right about there is going to be good for me. And with this, it's a little too sharp for me. I think let's change this to disconnected. And I'm going to drag this around just a little bit more. See if I can get it where I want it. Maybe bringing this out just a bit more. I feel like it's a pretty big shape, and I'm just applying small little changes here and there just to get it where I want it. Alright, there we go. That looks pretty good, and I think I'm happy with that. I think the gap here is maybe a little bit too much. We can bring that in a bit. Drag everything else over. Maybe something like that. We can get this centered. And there we go. That's looking pretty good. Okay, so there we go. There's the Venmo logo. That's one way to go about it. When you want to manipulate your text, you can convert it into shapes and then manipulate the shape a little bit further. That's how sometimes you can get the customized text look for different logos and different text logos that spell out, like Transformers would be a good example of that. And I'll try to flash that on the screen. Alright guys, thanks again for watching. You are helping me live the dream here. I'll see you in the next one.